Floating Swans and Blooming Flowers, Faqir Chand on the Illusory Nature of Visions, written by David Christopher Lane, narrated by Jason Zenobia. One day in my congregation here, one man rose up and fell at my feet. I asked him who he was. He replied that he was a meditator. One day he had seen inside him great effulgence and a lake with blooming flowers in it. Swans were floating, and I appeared before him and told him that I could ferry him across. He did not know me, therefore he went about in search of me. Somebody informed him about my satsang. So, on reaching here, he recognized me as the saint whose vision had appeared in meditation. He asked me to take him to the destination. This experience opened my eyes. I had not projected myself into his mind. Then how to explain all that had happened to him? The explanation is that he had gathered certain suggestions and impressions from books and persons in his mind. Faqir Chand. Introduction. Faqir Chand died on September 11th, 1981. He was 95 years old. During his lifetime, this most remarkable of Sharp yoga masters was relatively unknown, since he eschewed publicity and refused to grant initiation after 1942. However, he is unique among Radha Somi gurus for his exceptional honesty in explaining the illusory nature behind religious visions. Faqir was a harsh critic of spiritual leaders who were unwilling to acknowledge their own limitations and who exploited their respective followers by allowing them to believe that they possessed omniscience and omnipotence, when, in truth, they were as unknowing as their naive followers. Although certain Radhasomi branches wish to advertise them as scientific, they seldom live up to that high ideal and instead only use that moniker to attract seekers who disdain more dogmatic religions. A truly scientific guru must be willing to be wrong and allow himself or herself to be corrected. Of all the Sharp yoga gurus I have met in my research career spanning some 40+ years, Faqir Chand is the only Radhasomi master who confessed that he may be wrong in his understanding, and he openly asked other spiritual teachers to point out his errors if he was mistaken. They never publicly did. I suspect it was because they knew that Faqir was right about how religious visions and the like were projections of a disciple's own mind. It is a devotee's faith and belief, not the guru's so-called superluminal power, that causes a Christian to see Jesus and a Sikh to see Guru Nanak. Such apparitions are not real in themselves, but merely reflections of one's own consciousness. Faqir Chand realized this truth very early on and decided to tell the truth to his numerous followers, even though he realized that by doing so he was opening up Pandora's box and he would be regarded as a heretic in some circles and heavily criticized for revealing what had been kept secret by countless gurus in order to maintain the blind faith of their initiates. Today, Faqir Chand's life and work are more well known than ever before. This is primarily because in a world deluded with false gurus and prophets, Faqir's truthfulness and frank revelations resonate with those who don't want to be hoodwinked by charlatans. Faqir Chand was a great advocate of daily meditation, but he warned against getting trapped by mesmerizing sights and sounds which ultimately distract the seeker from reaching his or her ultimate goal. Rather, one should focus on the source from which all such manifestations arise. That very being is our true home, and that in itself is timeless, spaceless, and nameless. During my stay at Manavta Mandir, I had the opportunity to closely observe Faqir Chand and some of his personal habits. I noticed the following. 1. Faqir Chand did not live at Manavta Mandir, but made his residence in a small abode several blocks away from the ashram. 2. Faqir arrived very early in the morning at Manavta Mandir, usually in a bicycle rickshaw. 3. Faqir would go into samadhi, deep meditation, every day, and his followers would sit around him, also meditating. 4. Faqir Chand's withdrawal of consciousness was such that only the whites of his eyes would be visible. Excerpt from The Unknowing Sage. Radha Swami, today is the first day of Chaitra, the first month of the new year. May the new year bring peace and plenty to each one of you. Sri Swami Ji, founder of Radha Swami faith, writes in his Sar Bachan, "The month of Chaitra came. The Master spiritually awakened his disciples, made a bridge for them, and ferried them across the ocean of births and deaths." What is this ocean? As I understand, this ocean is the whirlpool of mind in which beings are caught up and go on experiencing pleasure and pain, and are being revolved from births to deaths and vice versa. Some people say the soul is immortal. I do doubt it. But then this immortal soul will go on incarnating again and again ceaselessly and never get out of this whirlpool. I fail to explain it conclusively. That is why I invite other practical investigators or seekers after truth to throw light on this issue from their personal spiritual experience and not by quoting books. In the light of personal experience gained so far, I can state that I witness the whirlpool of the mind, but am not caught up in it. It is so because I have gained the insight into the unreality of these mental creations. They are all Maya, or illusory figments of the imagination, mere shadows, not substantial things. This insight into their nature has served to release me from their bondage. My physical form appears in visions to many of my satsangis and helps them to tide over some of their difficulties. I receive numerous reports of this effect from the satsangis concerned, orally and by letters. In my heart of hearts, I know for certain that I do not know where and when these visions arise and help them miraculously, nor do I produce them. Then, how does it happen? What is the explanation for this? I believe that the intensified faith of these devout persons becomes creative and produces these results. Many so-called gurus misappropriate the credit for similar happenings which take place in their disciples whose own true faith should be held responsible for those results. By the lack of moral courage and honesty on the part of pseudo-gurus, credulous disciples are kept in the dark and fleeced under fake pretenses. I alert the faithful but simple-minded satsangis to beware of such sneaks and their false claims. I had been commanded by my Guru Dev, Shiv Brat Lal, to introduce plain speaking into religion, so I am duty-bound to proclaim the truth behind these miracles and to save the simpletons from exploitation. If I do not reveal the truth, I can, by keeping satsangis in the dark, extract from them large sums of money by claiming fake credit for the miracles that no doubt do happen. But the sinful collection and accumulation of material wealth for this institution will sink it and me under its own wicked and unlawful weight. I am quite alive to the fact that this exposure will shake off the blind faith of many faithful, but I am also painfully aware that by refraining from this bounden duty, I shall be guilty of perpetrating the evil which has divided the human race into warring sects and made genuine manavta, or natural humanitarian love of man for man, extinct from our unhappy planet, for which was prophesied goodwill among men and loving service of one another. At the time of India's partition in 1947, streams of bloodshed flowed in this land of seers and saints. What was the cause of communal hatred? The flames were fanned by false beliefs that the gods of each community were at its back. The gods and goddesses that most of the sect founders claimed to have seen were nothing but the mental creations of their own impressions and suggestions lying stored up inside their minds. Truth is beyond this region or plane of the mind where all is one and one is all, where the mental agitations are not rampant and supramental. Reality reveals itself as the one universal reality, with no trace of separative, sectarian, illusory visions held sacred in their ignorance by the sectarian propagandists and those self-aggrandizement seekers. There is no God but one God. There is not truth but one truth in the universe, and it is the same for all castes, creeds, sects, climes, and times. It refuses to be monopolized, being infinite, by any finite mind or intellect. O warring communal sects and religious denominations, come out into the vast unity of the open sky, and do not dissect it to suit the size of your little windows, your limited minds. My master, while entrusting this mission to me, declared that I was an extraordinary person of noble qualities, and came into this world for leading it towards its true welfare. He gave me the titles extremely affectionate and compassionate. Keeping in view my master's commandment, I have made my spiritual experiences an open secret, so that mankind may cease to be divided against one another on grounds of religious fanaticism. The mind divides, the spirit unifies. The supramental truth is one and the same for all human beings, while the mental creations are divergent. Kali Yuga, or the Dark Age, is the age in which the intellect gets the better of the heart, or manavta, and creates dissensions where there is, in fact, unity. The meddling intellect misshapes the beauteous forms of things. O misguided human beings, you may have faith in and worship Rama, Krishna, Devi, or any other chosen deity. It is all an affair of your mind. The power that a practicing mind gets by worshipping Devi can be equally achieved by another person worshipping Krishna or Mohammed or Faqir Chand. Then where is the scope for dissensions, especially when on the supramental plane there exist no such forms or visions of individually chosen deities, but there is one universal consciousness? A soul that remains attached all his life to a deity or guru can never go beyond the ocean of births and deaths, because he has propped himself on another entity, which is, at best, a creation of his own mind. And it is the mind that is the ocean of births and deaths. Faith based on true knowledge alone can take you across, and not faith based on ignorance. Hence, try to transcend the mind in order to go to the other shore of the ocean. My experience leads me to believe that this is the meaning of crossing the ocean. Radha Swami Dayal and other saints might have had the same meaning in mind or a different one. I can't say. This single fact, that all the creations of the mind are Maya, has helped me to leave behind or transcend the mental plane and go beyond Maya. Sant Tulsi Das corroborates my experience when he says in the Ramcharitmanas that, "O brother, you should take as Maya all that the mind can include in its sweep." The implication of the above is that all the visions that the mind creates, be they in the form of Rama or Krishna or Baba Faqir or gods and goddesses, are all nothing but Maya. This single revelation is that it is all nothing but Maya. This single revelation of mine is enough to remove all the sectarian dissensions and bickering in the world. Thus, I find no difference between Sant Mat and Sanatana Dharma. Radha Swami Mat or Sant Mat is only a branch of Sanatana Dharma, whereas in the sacred books of Sanatana Dharma, the above revelation is only hinted at. In the Sant Mat, it is openly declared. I have deleted the word Sanatana Dharma and called it Manav Dharam. The ocean appeared impossible to cross, but the perfect master boosted his morale. How vast is this ocean? It is as vast as the range of mental and emotional fields. Radha Swami Dayal further says that the perfect master demanded the fee from the disciple in the form of complete surrender of his body, mind, and possessions. When this was cheerfully offered, the perfect guru ferried him across the ocean. The ignorant laity believed that they should serve the body of the guru by means of their bodies, praise the guru with their minds, and offer money to him. But this is not the real intent of Radha Swami Dayal. He exhorts us to sit in the company of the adepts and understand the secret that we are not the body or the mind, and the possessions are not really ours. He who properly understands this develops vairagya, or detachment, and then alone can cross the ocean of births and deaths. One may offer to the guru untold wealth, serve the body of the guru adequately, but he will not be able to cross the ocean unless he develops the unshakable faith that he is neither the body nor the mind, nor are the belongings really his. There is no other way to cross the ocean. He gets salvation or release from these three main bondages by developing total detachment. The false gurus hide this truth from their ignorant disciples and perpetuate their slavery in order to go on fleecing them. According to Sant Mat, a sincere living guru is necessary to drive home the truth. Therefore, he is so much glorified in Sant Mat. Further, Radha Swami Dayal declares that when a mind is attached to the body, it flows towards sense objects. But the same current of mental attention can be made to flow, with the aid of the inner sound current, towards the intensely sparkling light in the inner sky. Formerly, I used to practice meditation continuously, sometimes for 12 hours at a time, because I was earnestly bent upon knowing the truth. But now, I don't do that. My Gurudev, Datta Dayal Maharaj, ordained me to work as a guru and told me simultaneously that I would meet my true guru in the form of satsangis or disciples and they would take me across this ocean. When they reported to me their miraculous experiences and ascribed them to my power, I came to the conclusion that because I had not caused them, they must be the result of their own faith and the product of impression and suggestions already present in their minds. Further, I learnt to take my own similar visions and experiences to be my own mental creations, and I took them for what they were and no more. In this way, I did not remain caught up in the mental region, but was able to transcend it. Radha Swami Dayal further says that the disciple then saw divine light and the mouth of the Bunk Nal. Literally, it means curved pipe or path, because this path first leads downward and then leads upward. Where is this curved path inside us? In fact, it refers to no physical pipe, but to going up and down of surat, or attention. When one is about to fall asleep, one should remain watchful. One will find that the surat goes down and forgets all. Then it comes up and sees dreams. A similar junction called Sandhi or Santhya comes when surat passes from the dream state to the dreamless or sound sleep state. This is the second Bunk Nal or curved pipe. There is the third Bunk Nal, the junction of sound sleep and the fourth state, or Turiya. This is what I have been able to understand by curved pipe. I do not know what others understand by it. Further, R.S. Dayal writes that he heard the conch shell sound and the omkar vibration inside. I have explained in a book why a meditator hears inside him sounds of bell, conch, omkar, flute, and sitar. All these are manifestations of the mental plane. Since this knowledge came to me, I ceased to be caught up in the whirlpool of the mind and transcended it. Now, I look upon all these manifestations as mere Maya. Therefore, now, even if I try to catch these sounds, I do not get them, because their value as something real has vanished for me who has transcended the mind. Further, Radha Swami Dayal says that he transcended the mind plane and reached the higher consciousness plane, where he saw the form of the higher guru. Thence the two rose higher and reached or experienced the plane called Mansarova. When the consciousness became pure, i.e. thoughtless or thought-free, the mind becomes no mind. This is called Shunya or Mansarova. It is a state of intuition which is supra-mental. In my earlier stages of spiritual meditation, I used to experience inside me light, sounds, swans, large flowers, and many other things. One day in my congregation here, one man rose up and fell at my feet. I asked him who he was. He replied that he was a meditator. One day he had seen inside him great effulgence and a lake with blooming flowers in it. Swans were floating, and I appeared before him and told him that I could ferry him across. He did not know me, therefore he went about in search of me. Somebody informed him about my satsang, so on reaching here he recognized me as the saint whose vision had appeared in meditation. He asked me to take him to the destination. This experience opened my eyes. I had not projected myself into his mind. Then how to explain all that had happened to him? The explanation is that he had gathered certain suggestions and impressions from books and persons in his mind. During meditation, they appeared to him. To a Mohammedan, only Muhammad appears in the meditation. To a Christian, Christ. To a Hindu, they do not appear because he is ordinarily without these impressions. It is for this reason that a living master's personal guidance is indispensable. Find out a spiritual adept and narrate to him your inner experiences. He will remove your illusions and help you to be established in truth. He will help you to come out of all the devouring whirlpool of the mind. So, I have told you clearly how I came out of it. Further, Radha Swami Dayal writes that the Surat began to love the pure swan and attained happiness. I have come to the conclusion that no swan comes into our meditation from outside us. Our own soul or spirit inside becomes pure like a white swan, and experiences its own effulgence, which is all love also. If other spiritual gurus find my explanation incorrect, let them be good enough to correct me and convince me, and I shall be grateful to them. Further, Radha Swami Dayal Maharaj writes that the spiritual consciousness stayed for some time on the Shunya plane and rose still higher. What is this Shunya plane? Shunya literally means void or emptiness. When the Surat rises still higher, it reaches the most sublime state of Mahashunya, writes Radha Swami Dayal. He who remains conscious of its own innate, inherent light, even in that void, alone enters there. If he identifies himself with the void, his progress is obstructed. But the intensely alert and ever-awake spirit revels there and enjoys bliss. Even when such a rare, self-realized spirit descends to the phenomenal plane of the ordinary waking state, it continues to enjoy the bliss of Shushupti, or mindless, dreamless, sound sleep experience, even while in ordinary waking state. Further, we are told that the ascending spirit reaches the Sahaj Deep state, or the uniform state of spontaneous self-bliss, which remains ever the same uninterruptedly. This means that the spirit becomes self-awakened, self-satisfied, and spontaneously joyful. I believe that such liberated souls, which have become vibrant, self-conscious light on leaving the physical body, can liberate other unliberated souls, yet in the state of spiritual endeavor. Next, we are told that the ascending spirit comes in front of a supernatural window-like opening, crosses it, and realizes that all below was mere phenomenon, and now it has entered and become identified with the noumenon, or the intuitive unitive experience. This is termed by the mystics Banwa Gupta, or the whirlpool cave. What does this hint at? What I have been able to understand is that it refers to the ascending and descending or whirling of the consciousness, with this difference that when it descends into phenomenon, it does not become attached to it, but remains a detached or disengaged witness of the flux or the passing show, the joyful self-play of the changeless substance among the changeful shadows. I do not claim I understand that meaning of Banwa Gupta which Radha Swami Dayal had in mind. If I am wrong in my interpretation, I am open to corrections at the hands of more advanced mystics. I find that the words of the saints continue to bewilder all seekers till they have intuitive experience and understand what the writer had experienced. The terms Banwa Gupta Shunya and Mahashunya, etc., used to be insoluble riddles for me and gave me endless headache and sleepless nights. till, as a result of intuitive experience and the peace that passeth understanding, dawned upon me. Radha Swami Dayal further tells us that next higher comes the stage where there is limitless divine self-light alone. Radha Swami Dayal has called that abode the dwelling place of Sat Purush. Purush is man and Prakriti is woman. The Purush fertilizes Prakriti and creation comes into being. It is from that original Purush that the whole creation of nature has come about. When the spirit ascends higher still, it continues to experience light and sound till it reaches Alak Lok. Alak Lok is the plane which cannot be experienced but is experiencing itself. It is that reality, or the subject, which experiences even light and sound as objects. Radha Swami Dayal says that the resplendence of that plane or state cannot be compared even to that of numberless suns and moons. The true saint has his eternal identity there. In conclusion, Radha Swami Dayal states that it is there that the rest is all wonder, wonder, wonder. From that nameless, formless reality or truth has all life sprung. In the face of that eternity, life and time are like ephemeral bubble, or like the instantaneously opening and shutting of man's lips. All of us and everything else have sprung from there, but we have forgotten our identity and have become caught up in the excitements of perishable material contacts which, by their very nature, give us the shock of separation at every step as they are perishable, slippery eels. Let me, in the end, put in a nutshell the spiritual message of Radha Swami Dayal, for transmitting which he made the name Chaitra, the first month of the Hindu New Year, a peg to hang his spiritual teachings on. He reveals the stages in the journey of the spirit towards the realizations of perfection. Thus, the diffused consciousness, when it collects itself, becomes fully self-aware, and with earnest intent turns its own searchlight inward and thirsts for self-experience, disengages itself from non-self. It enters a sort of profound sleep state. But if it can remain self-conscious there, and pushes deeper and deeper into its perfection, which is its own real self, it becomes completely satisfied in the self-experience as truth absolute, wisdom absolute, and bliss absolute. Thus has Radha Swami Dayal revealed the Surat Shabd Marg for the souls trying to regain their original pristine glory and that stateless state that is nameless. I lay no claim to finality of my experience. Let the saints of this path graciously enlighten me where I may be in the dark. I had, at the outset of my quest for truth, vowed that I would reveal whatever I would attain. So, I have fulfilled my promise. May awaking be to all. May fulfillment be to all. May peace and prosperity be to all. Radha Swami abode be to all. Faqir Chand.